Hi, welcome back to The Scent Advocate. Tonight we're talking about fragrances inspired by Japan. I made a video or two so far where I talked about destinations and fragrances that made me think of them. Um, this would be another. Now, in all fairness, I have not been to Japan, but I still feel inspired to go by some of these fragrances, and I want to try and do them justice. Some of them are very special. In fact, I will save two until the end. They are the most special. And one does not belong to me. I borrowed it from a woman, my mother, who was generous enough to let me share it with you all this evening, and it is a treasure. And then I have a treasure of my own, but I'll save hers for last because it's really amazing. So tonight's beverage is Genmaicha tea, which is a Japanese green tea with toasted rice, sometimes referred to as popcorn tea because when the rice is roasted, sometimes it pops. Which I thought was adorable. So I'm drinking that, of course, with a water chaser. I always have one. Oh, perfect. Okay. So let's jump right in, and you tell me if you've ever been to Japan, and if so, do these fragrances at all make you think of Japan? Do they inspire you to want to go back if you've never been? Do they inspire you to want to go for the first time? So the first is a little bit of a cheat, and it's my only cheat, but you'll have to indulge me because I love this so much. It is Tokyo Nights by Denim. There we go. It's a sample. This is from Scent Split. It's 5 ml. By the way, I love Scent Split. I get a lot of samples from them. They come in different sizes, which I think is fantastic. So you can go for the very small 1 ml, and then I think they have 2 ml, 5 ml, and 9 ml. And they're really great, especially for the higher priced fragrances if you want to do more than one sample and get a few wears out of the sample. And so with this one, I got my initial sample in a 1 ml, loved it, and graduated up to a 5 ml. And I will have this on my Christmas wish list because I absolutely love it. So Tokyo Nights. Why does it make me think of Japan? It's not the name. It's the osmanthus, right? So osmanthus, along with another flower, which I'll get to in a little bit, you had to know that was coming, is very much part of the culture of Japan. It's an evergreen that grows in different places, but in particular Japan, and it comes out, so I understand, around the time that children start school. And so what I've read is that when people who grew up in Japan smell the osmanthus, it makes them think back to their school days, usually pleasant memories as I've read them to be described. And they're small, little orangey yellow flowers, but they are so fragrant that they are said to be wafting through the air. The fragrance is wafting through the air before they even fully open up. And I adore osmanthus. I have quite a few osmanthus fragrances in my collection, and they are just incredible, this one included, although it's a cheat. So this is a 2024 release. On Go is the nose behind it. I think the 50 mil or 30 mil, I can't remember what a full size would be for this, but I believe, I'm just going to go with 50 mil. A 50 mil goes for about $200, and it is an EDP, if I'm not mistaken. So the notes in this are tobacco, umeshu, which I believe is a type of Japanese beverage, smoke, amber, and osmanthus. Yes to all except the umeshu, which I cannot say I know. I don't. I really don't know anything about it at all, other than it's a popular drink, or it's a flavoring for a drink, or it has something to do with a beverage. The smoke is definitely there. The tobacco, wet pipe tobacco, sweet, heavy, dark. The amber, same thing there, that rich, dark, resinous, almost syrupy quality. And then the sweet apricot, fruity osmanthus. Oh, stunning. Just, contradictions coming together. The bright, light apricot of the osmanthus meets the heaviness of the tobacco and the smoke and the amber. It's just a lovely combination of complementary notes that really give you a singular, completely pleasant experience. This fragrance has a lot of commercial appeal, in my opinion. Very, very satisfying. I absolutely adore it. Have you tried Tokyo Nights by Denom? Let me know in the comments. Okay, moving on. We've got Hisui by J Scent. This fragrance is, well, Hisui means jade, so I think that's significant, especially when we get to the notes. So this is a 50 ml EDP. It was released in 2018, and it goes for about $110. So the notes in this are bergamot, lemon, mandarin, cassis, tuberose, jasmine, lily of the valley, ylang ylang, orange flower, musk, amber, sandalwood, patchouli, and oak moss. This is really refined, really sophisticated. It starts out green and wet, and it dries down more woody. It's a strong, sweet citrus meets a floral, kind of white and yellow florals, with a hint of oak moss that gives it quite a bit of sophistication. It's not an overdone oak moss at all. Not that oak moss could ever be overdone for me, but it's not a heavy oak moss. It's just in the background, bolstering the whole experience. At the same time, there's a softness and a fluffiness to it. And it makes me think of walking on a carpet of moss in the woods. I have a very wooded property, and because of that, there's a lot of moss that grows. So instead of grass, we have a little bit of grass here and there, but we like to let it go natural. So there's a lot of moss everywhere because it's so heavily shaded. And I don't know what compels me to do it, but every so often I have to go out there, especially in the spring when the moss is new and really cushy. I have to go out there and take my shoes off and walk on it. It just does something for me. I've heard of grounding. I really don't know much about it. I'm kind of funny when it comes to my feet. I don't like to be barefoot on any surface, especially outdoors. I worry about, all kinds of crazy, unrealistic things. A result of my parents trying to teach me to always wear something on my feet so I wouldn't get cut or blisters or anything. And as a result, it made me paranoid. Anyway, walking on the moss seems like an incredibly daring, almost forbidden thing to do. Of course, as an adult, I know it's perfectly fine, but I get a charge out of it that I think has something to do with the whole grounding experience. Plus, it feels a little naughty, I guess. It's ridiculous. But anyway, this reminds me of that. So I don't know if you have a weird foot thing. Sounds terrible. The point is, this is great stuff. Never mind about my feet or anyone's feet. This has nothing to do with feet. It smells amazing. It's Jade, or Hisui by J Scent. All right, gorgeous stuff. Makes me think of Japan. Why? Because it's a Japanese fragrance house. Hisui means jade in Japanese. And I believe the inspiration is the forests of Japan. All right, have you tried it? Let me know in the comments. I think should I cut that part out about the feet? Oh, God, okay. All right, let's move on and get the heck away from that ridiculous story I just told you. All right, so let's move into another wonderful floral representation of Japan. Cherry blossoms, of course. So here we go with Comete by Chanel. This one, here we go. Okay, this one is a 2024 release. It's an EDP. It's 75 ml, and it goes for $355. Olivier Polge is the nose behind it, and of course, the notes are cherry blossoms, aldehydes, iris, heliotrope, musk, and cherry blossoms. So much we had to say it twice. This is named after a necklace designed by Coco Chanel. This is so pretty. I love the idea of cherry blossoms. I do. And we have a lot of cherry trees in upstate New York, and cherry wood, and just cherry, cherry, cherry. And when I lived in Utah, when we would go up to northwestern Montana, there were tons of cherry orchards, and they were so beautiful, and I really enjoyed them. But I can't say that I was ever crazy about cherry blossom as a fragrance, but this is special. So this takes cherry blossoms and elevates them with the complementary note of iris, as well as heliotrope. So those kind of powdery fragrances, I think, add some nuance to the cherry blossom, something different that you don't get everywhere. And then, of course, the aldehydes give it a lift, making it lighter, airier, bubbly, zippy. And the musk, I think, is just there as kind of an anchor. It's not a big standout to me, at least. The musk also feels more ambrette than a traditional musk note, which is perfect for this fragrance. So this made me think of Japan because it is such an enjoyable, positive, lively, it smells pink cherry blossom fragrance. And of course, when I think of cherry blossoms, I think of Japan. And this is Comete by Chanel. All right, moving on. Let's do Keiko Mecheri's Peau de Pêche. All right, Keiko Mecheri is a Japanese-American fragrance designer and house. This is an EDP. It is 100 ml. It was released in 2000, and it goes for $165. The notes in this are white peach, orris powder, sandalwood, amber, and This makes me think of Japanese desserts. It's peach Bellini, peach puree, Prosecco. But whenever I've had Japanese fruit-based desserts, there was always that very light, bright, fruity feel to it. And that's what I get from this. Very refreshing, very uplifting, not too sweet. I think the hint of aldehydes that I kind of get from this, and the sandalwood just give it a very clean, crisp, almost healthy, enlivening, energetic, youthful feel. And I remember the times I've eaten at Japanese restaurants and gotten dessert, I always walked away feeling like, wow, that wasn't, heavy or in any way, overly sweet. It just felt like it didn't feel like I had dessert. It felt like I did something healthy. And that's what I get from this. It makes me think of Japanese desserts, Japanese fruit-based desserts. And in this case, accompanied by a peach Bellini. There you go. Peau de Pêche by Keiko Mecheri. Moving on, we've got Himitsu Violets by Régime de Fleurs. So this fragrance Himitsu means like secret or privacy. The nose behind this is Dominique Ropion. This is a 75 ml. It goes for $275. It's an EDP and it's a 2022 release. So the notes in this are lily of the valley, heliotrope, violet, saffron, tolu balsam, and suede. This fragrance is soft, powdery, with a slight hint of skin from that suede. And I love when that happens. It adds such a grown-up dimension to it, almost a little bit bad. Yeah, so it opens up with a very strong violet / heliotrope. Very, very strong. So strong, I might have thought there was orris root in this, because the strength in this fragrance equals a weight, heaviness. And I think the tolu balsam adds to that as well. Same thing goes for the lily of the valley. That can come off as a heavy floral to me. But it's still soft and powdery. As I said, but the suede is what really sets it off. Way in the back, there's a soft suede. And it's not muted. It's just enough that it gives this a sexiness that heliotrope and violet and, lily of the valley don't usually have. They require something else. And I think sometimes fragrance houses will add either animalics, which I think can be a little odd, or they'll put something else like too much oak moss, and that turns it into something, else entirely, detracts from the softness of the heliotrope and the violet. But this doesn't. It's a very faint, like I said, nod at the suede, which gives it that sexy quality that I think sets us off and makes it unique. Have you tried Himitsu Violets? If you have, let me know, do you pick up that suede? And for me, when I first started using this fragrance, I didn't. But now I get it. Now I absolutely get it. And I love it. I think it's incredible. Himitsu Violets by Fleurs. Excuse me, Régime de Fleurs. Okay, moving on. We've got, Tokiwa by Strangers Parfumerie. So this means, it doesn't mean, it's describing a green tea, right? A green tea called sencha. And the fragrance is meant to make the wearer think of the experience of drinking this green tea and having a very enriching, kind of enlivening experience as a result of the very energizing green tea. Okay, so this is a 30 ml. It's an EDP. It was released in 2025. It goes for about $100, and this is Prin L'Homme Rose, the nose behind it. The notes are mostly written on the bottle, and what I love about this is the unique notes in this fragrance that really make it special. So we've got vetiver, corn, wildflowers, grass, pistachio, moss, roasted seaweed, sencha, the tea I mentioned, spinach, grapefruit, ambrette seed. Ugh. It is fabulous, and it does smell healthy and, you know, like giving you that life force that you can get from a really great tea. It's blissful, it's uplifting, it's life force through your veins. If that had a smell, that's what this would smell like. And yet comforting. It's got that carby, comforting feel from the corn. The corn is very present. Sweet yellow corn. And I just think it's the most interesting creation. And if you haven't tried it, you must. It's fantastic. It's just as good as it sounds. Better. It's better than it sounds. Now, I don't know much about corn scented fragrances. This is my first as far as I know. I may have another, but it's more like a popcorn or something, not like this. This is unique. Can you recommend any other corn fragrances? If you can, please leave them in the comments. I would love to try them. Have you tried Tokiwa by Strangers Parfumerie? Named after the Japanese tea? Let me know. Moving on, our last two. So I promised these would be special, and they are. So here we go. This arrived today. This is mine. This is Feminite du Bois by Shiseido. Eau timide. Will you look at this bottle? It is stunning, stunning. It's a brownish rose, beautiful, beautiful bottle. Christopher Sheldrake and Pierre Bourdon. This is a 1992 release. This is 100 ml, and I paid about $250 for it. What I can't tell you is the concentration. I think the eau timide is the concentration. Feminite du Bois was released in a stronger concentration as I understand it, and this is meant to be the softer version. I think that means either EDT or cologne, but let me know in the comments if you know. I haven't been able to pin it down. So the notes in this are peach, rose, cloves, cinnamon, beeswax, cardamom, plum, orange blossom, violet, honey, cedar, sandalwood, and musk. I remember this from my youth. Now, there's a modern version of this, right? And the modern version is from the house of Serge Lutens. Serge Lutens was, I believe, at one time with Shiseido. And the noses behind this fragrance, Christopher Sheldrake and Pierre Bourdin, worked with Serge Lutens or were engaged by him. I'm not sure how it works. I'm not a perfumer, but I would love to know more about how that dynamic works. And it was under his direction, or creative direction, I should say, that this fragrance was developed. It's dark, mysterious, and yet innocent and brave. There's sweet plums in here, dark sweet plums, meet resinous, pungent cedar. It's magical. It is absolutely magical. Spices give it a warmth and a depth. The version by Serge Lutens is excellent. Really is. I found there to be a slight difference, so I wanted this. I could not get the non-eau timide version. I couldn't get the, what I guess would be an EDP version, but I got this and it absolutely gives me what I'm looking for. I would have preferred a stronger concentration, but this is lovely. So my question to you is, and I've studied the heck out of this, is there a way to get this to behave stronger? I've read that letting air reach it is not a good thing because the molecules that give it scent will escape right along with the alcohol, thereby weakening the liquid. I don't want that. But if you have any ideas, please do let me know. I would be interested. I will be wearing this, and all that will happen is I'll wear double the amount that I would if it were more concentrated. So I don't know if there's a way to, a trick or something. Let me know. I definitely don't want to compromise this fragrance in any way, so I'm not willing to take any risks with it, but this is a stunner. If you don't want to spend on a vintage bottle, I do think the Serge Lutens house version of Feminite du Bois is fantastic. It is really close. This was a sentimental buy for me as well, and it gives me what I wanted. So let me know if you tried this stuff. It's exquisite. And if you are afraid of the heaviness of the notes, this is a fantastic concentration. All right. Moving on, last but most definitely not least, we have my mother's Zen. Of course, also from the house of Shiseido, which is Japanese. Zen being so quintessentially Japanese, a concept we all think of Japan when we hear, right? So this fragrance was a gift to my mother. Here it is. It was a gift to my mother, but she is so wonderful and such a gift to me and my family that really I feel like I won out here because it was such a pleasure to buy this for her. This is her favorite fragrance in the world, always has been my whole life. She had Zen. And when they discontinued this version, they've since, I think since 2000, they've had a newer version, and I've showed it in another video. She's got that, but it just is so different. When they discontinued this, she was heartbroken, and this was very difficult to find. The release date of this fragrance was, this one in particular, was 1979. Okay, this bottle was purchased in 1979, or I should say it was sold in 1979. The fragrance itself came out in 1964. This is 150 mils. I believe it's an EDP, but it says Eau de Zen. So I don't know for sure. But it's wild going through the experience buying vintage fragrances. This was an incredible journey, and I loved every minute of it. The nose behind this is Josephine Catapano. The notes are hyacinth, galbanum, bergamot, orange blossom, carnation, orris root, narcissus, jasmine, mimosa, violet, rose, oak moss, musk, sandalwood, cedar, and amber. This is just very, very, very special. There is nothing quite like it. It's a dark, rich composition all of its own. It's hard to describe. It's got a sandalwood that's different. You know, today's sandalwood is very, it's either, you know, very like dill-like, or it's like a body lotion, like the creamy version of sandalwood. It's just, it's a light wood. It's pretty. It's a little bit perfumey. It doesn't smell very real to me. It feels more like a fantasy note in most expressions. Now, of course, there's real nice or sandalwood and all of that, but that's my understanding is very, very rare because it's endangered. But this sandalwood may be that sandalwood. It's completely different. The florals are stunning. They are so beautifully expressed. The jasmine, the carnation, the rose, hyacinth, they are each present and very loud in their expression. And yet this is sophisticated and peaceful. How do they do it? I don't know. Maybe it's the right amount of orris root, which, by the way, is not screaming in here. I think a lot of orris and iris fragrances are just, you know, powder bombs, and I love them, right? I love me a good powder bomb, but this is different. They just don't make these anymore. Just no way. If you have, there's a hint of a smokiness, like a very faint incense. Oh, it's stunning, stunning. The other thing that I want to point out about this fragrance is the bottle. This bottle is it's a black smoked glass with, I mean, you can see through it. And when you see through it, it's almost like a dark jade. It's black meets jade. It's gorgeous. And the top is also glass. Can you hear that? It's glass on glass, and the top is like a little bit rough. It feels like brushed marble. and the gold, it's beautiful. It's everything about it is stunning and just like my mother. And I love it. I love it for her. It was such a pleasure to buy it for her, and made me very, very happy. And I believe it made her happy too. That is the last of the Japanese inspired fragrances. I chose them for flowers that made me think of Japan, fragrance houses that made me think of Japan, tea that made me think of Japan. How close was I? How far off was I? Are there any I need to try? Have you tried any of these? And if so, what do you think? Let me know in the comments. This was so much fun to do, and I have an idea for another couple of destinations. So far, I've done Italy and the French Riviera. I have not been to the French Riviera. I have been to Italy, and I have not been to Japan. So I can do another one or two geographies, but I like them to be different. So if you have any suggestions, let me know in the comments. And if you're not yet a subscriber, please consider subscribing to the channel. If you enjoyed the video, give me a like, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.